Use a problem-solving plan. Any guess as to what's going to be in this section based on that?
Algebra.
Yes.
Maybe some problem solving.
Problem solving, like what?
Word education.
Word problems. I don't know who said it, but you are right.
Oh.
It's like I just heard it come from that direction.
Don't vote for more. Me no speak English.
Well, that's going to be unfortunate for you with this section then. All right. A problem-solving plan. And we're going to have some steps for that. So step 1 is going to be read and understand the problem. So we want to read the problem very carefully, identify what we do know and what we're trying to find. And sometimes there's unnecessary information, so we want to kind of, if there's something we don't need, we want to kind of like be able to ignore that and figure that out. Step 2, we want to make a plan to solve the problem. That's kind of like, how would I set this up to be able to solve the problem that it's asking me? Step 3, actually solve the problem. And if what you try at first isn't working, then try something else, right? It's not just, and there's not always just one right way to do a problem. Sometimes there's multiple ways that you can get to the same end result. And then step 4, check to make sure your answer is reasonable. And then I'm going to give you some formulas that you need to be aware of and you need to know. So I would make sure that you memorize these. So the first one is going to be for temperature. And this says that C is equal to 5/9 times F minus 32. Where F is degrees Fahrenheit. Should I spell that right? Nope, I'm missing a letter. And C is degrees Celsius. I just can't spell today. We also have a simple interest formula. Does anybody know what interest is?
When you keep your money in a bank for long enough so you can get more money.
Yep. Like every so often they add money for you letting them hold on to your money, basically. So the simple interest formula is I equals PRT, where I is interest, P P is the principal, which is like the initial amount. So like if you put in like $500 to begin with, that's the principal amount. R is the interest rate, and it needs to be as a decimal. Sometimes they'll give you the percent and you have to change it to a decimal, so we'll talk about that if we have one like that. And then T is time. Typically in years, but that's not always 100% the case. We also have a formula for distance traveled. And that's going to be D equals RT, where D equals distance traveled. R is the rate, something like miles per hour, for example. And T is time. And then the last one is profit, which is P equals I minus E, where P is profit, I is income, and E is expenses. All right, so we're going to use some of these to solve some problems. So let's see. The first one say to identify what you know and what you need to find out. Identify any missing or irrelevant information you do not need to solve the problem. So for these first ones, we are not solving the problem.
Ferguson, can you please come to the main office? Kyrie Ferguson, you're needed at the main office. Thank you.
So again, we're identifying what we know and what we need to find out. If there's anything we don't need, we can get rid of it. And then, but we're not solving the problem on this one. So I'm going to write the whole thing out so I can kind of like highlight key stuff for you to look at. So this is a distance problem. It says one day, Paul ran at a rate of 0.15 miles per hour. Oh, I lied. Miles per minute, not hour. I was going to say that's really, really slow. For 40 minutes. The next day, Paul and Jen ran together at a rate of 0.16 miles per minute for 50 minutes. How far did Paul run altogether? So what do we know? Just take it piece by piece.
He ran at a rate of 0.15 miles per minute and then 0.16 miles per minute.
Yep. So we know that the first day he ran 0.15 minutes for 40 minutes. The second day he ran 0.16 miles per minute for 50 minutes. So what I would want you to write is 0.15 miles per minute. And I'm just shortening the, like, having to write out the units. So for 40 minutes and 0.16 miles per minute for 50 minutes. And ultimately, what are we trying to find?
How much he ran, how many miles he ran.
Yep. How far he ran altogether. So which would be total distance traveled. And that's all you have to do on the ones that just want you to explain. So again, this one we're not solving anything. We're just explaining the stuff that we know and what we're trying to find. The next problems say to state the formula that is needed to solve the problem, but do not solve the problem. Okay, so these ones are tell us the formula, but don't do anything past that. So for 8, we have the temperature is 68 degrees Fahrenheit. What is the temperature in degrees Celsius? So what is my formula for temperature from Fahrenheit to Fahrenheit to Celsius? You can just say it.
Celsius equals 5/9 times F minus 32.
Yep. Now, these ones don't want us to solve, but if we were solving, okay, all we would do is take this 68 degrees Fahrenheit, plug it in there, and then order of operations. And you could find what the degree Celsius is for that one. Number 10, so same thing, state the formula, don't need to solve. Find the area of a triangle with a base of 25 feet and a height of 8 feet. So what are we trying to find in this one?
How much do I'm trying to find the area.
Trying to find the area. So that's what we're trying to find. We know that it has a base of 25 feet and a height of 8 feet. So I'm doing a little extra with this problem. We're not solving it or anything, but just to talk through it. So what formula and it may or may not be one that I gave you, do we need for area of a triangle?
Half base times height.
Yep, 1/2 base times height. So area equals 1/2 b times h. And if we were actually solving, which again we're not, but if we were, we would take this 25, plug it in for the base, and we would take 8 and plug it in for the height, and then multiply all of that stuff together, and that would give us the area. So some of those basic formulas, like area of a rectangle, of a triangle, the perimeter of a rectangle, area perimeter of a square, things like that, you should be familiar with those like basic formulas. Obviously, I didn't write all of those ones down for you. I gave you the ones that are like possibly new or different, or that you wouldn't just commonly know off the top of your head. So make sure you keep those in the back of your head from previous years. This next problem is a multiple choice question, so we are actually going to solve it out, but I'm not going to tell you what the answer options are until we solve it, and I'll tell you what letter it goes with. So number 12 says a car travels at an average speed of 55 miles per hour. I'm just going to write MPH, not have to write the whole thing. How many miles does the car travel in 2.5 hours? All right, so what do I know?
It goes at 55 miles an hour, and it travels at 2.5 hours.
Yep, takes 2.5 hours. What am I trying to find?
How many miles it drives?
Yep, how many miles? Okay, so based on that, what formula do you think I need for this problem? Out of the formulas I gave you.
Distance
D.
traveled.
Yep, I need the distance traveled, which is D equals RT. So R is the rate, so that's 55. So R equals 55 miles per hour. T is the time, so that's 2.5 hours. And so distance traveled is what I'm trying to find. So the distance is the piece I'm looking for, so I plug that stuff in. So D equals 55 times 2.5. What would that be?
147.5.
How much?
147.5.
I think you're 10 over. I think it's 137.5.
Yeah, it's 137.5.
And I need to have units on this. So what units would be on there? Miles. All right, on to a couple word problems. $14. Some of them I may not write out the whole thing if they're long, but this one's not too bad. A stackable storage rack holds 22 DVDs and costs $21. How much would it cost to buy enough racks to hold 127 DVDs? So going through our steps, what do we know and what are we trying to find out?
Well, you know that a stackable storage rack holds 22 DVDs.
Yep. So it holds 22 DVDs for a cost of $21. And what am I trying to find?
When we do the homework, do we have to like write out the entire work?
I would suggest that you do.
You're trying to see how much it would cost to hold enough to hold 127 DVDs.
Yep. How much would it cost to hold 127 DVDs? So how much would it cost is what we're ultimately trying to find. So any ideas on how we should set this up to find it? And these may or may not use formulas that we just got, right? Some of them are just think through the problem and process, making a plan of how to find them. Yes.
The maximum amount of DVD you can get without going over would be 110 if you're multiplying normally. So it'd be 5 point something.
Well, so we can't just buy half of a rack, though. Yes.
So you would divide 127 by 22 and multiply that by 22.
Yep. So we're going to take 127 DVDs, because that's how many we have. We're going to divide it by 22. So I think 6 is too many. Yep, 6 is too many. So if I buy 5 racks, I would have 17 DVDs left over. So what do I need to do? How many?
Buy another one.
So I'm going to have to buy another one, and I'm going to have a few extra slots for the rest of the DVDs that I get. So that's going to give me 5 point something, right? But I'm going to need to get 6 DVDs, or 6 racks, because I need to get up to the next whole rack. And now I'm going to take the number of racks and multiply that by the cost. So the number of racks times the cost. So that's going to be 6 times $21, which is what?
I think it's 126.
So $126 to buy enough racks to hold all of our DVDs. So there's different ways you could have gone about this to have done this problem. So as long as what you have makes sense and that you're showing all the stuff, then we're good. I hope you're paying attention over there. I'm looking at you. Yeah, what's that? That's not for this class. You're supposed to be writing this stuff down. It's like the 8th time this year I've had to say, when I'm doing stuff on the board, you should be writing it down. All right, 16. About mountain boards. I don't know what that is. Looks like a funny looking skateboard. You've saved $70 to buy a mountain board. That costs $250. You plan to save $10 each week. How many weeks will it take to save for the board? All right, so what do I know?
You've saved $70.
I've already saved $70. Fantastic. What else?
You know that you're gonna save $10 each week.
Yep, $10 each week. What else?
You wanna know how many weeks it'll take to get to your total cost.
So that's what I'm looking for. How many weeks?
It costs $250.
And the total cost is $250. So I've read and understand the problem, so now I need to start making a plan for how am I going to go about solving this. Any ideas what my very first step should be?
Maybe subtract 250 from 70 to see how much money you need to get, and then you can see how many weeks you need to get in.
Yep, so I'm going to take the cost and I'm going to subtract the 70 that I've already saved. So that's going to be 250 minus the 70 that's already saved, which gives me what?
180.
So I need $180 more dollars. This is what I still need to save. Now what do you think I need to do?
You need to divide that by how many days are in a week. Or no, divide that, no.
You save $10 each week, so you just remove the 0.
Yep, so I'm going to divide by 10, right, because it's $10 every week, so that's going to tell me how many I need. So $180 divided by $10, since that's $10 per week. And we can cancel the zeros since they're that way. And technically the dollar signs are canceling as far as units, and so it's going to take 18 weeks to save for the mountain board. All right. Any questions on those at this point? All right, so tomorrow we won't be here because of volleyball. If we're here for like 3 minutes of this class, so not very long because it's chapel day. So tomorrow you're going to work on these, and I will probably leave a worksheet as well. Volleyball players, if I have a worksheet, I'll find you or give it to you on the bus tomorrow, so that way you'll have it. So the problems that you'll be doing in class tomorrow are (3 through 17 odd.